When I was first asked to sing with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, I went very quickly back to my memories of seeing the choir on television as a child. And the size of the choir and the homogeneous sound in unison of so many voices made an incredible impression upon me when I was very young. Arguably one of the finest choirs in the world, with a long tradition of producing annually wonderful shows with enormous quality. So I was thrilled to be asked to join and to come here and experience it firsthand for myself. When Craig and Matt came to New York and we began to speak about repertoire, I was already well-versed in thinking about this kind of music because I had made a Sacred Songs disc just a few months before and had a long list of available songs, and of course I wanted to do new things. So we pulled out our respective lists and favorites, and it's a whittling down process because there's always too much music, and then we have to kind of decide, well, we're going to do this. But the thing that amazed me is how quickly the arrangements were made. Both Mac and Mike were extraordinarily fast and unbelievably talented. The quality of the arrangements is very high and fun, and some of them sparkle and some of them are very moving, but they're all very well done. I've always loved Lo, How a Rose Ere Blooming. It's a chorale, and it was originally, of course, in the German language, but it's one of those very beautiful melodies. I've always enjoyed singing it, so this was on the top of the list right away. I said, we have to do this great choral piece, but I never thought we would do it without accompaniment. The quality of the music making is so high. I almost fell down when I heard this choir of 360 people can sing perfectly in tune and hold pitch for a very long strophic song. I have to tell you, that is so difficult. I mean, small groups of singers, solo singers can't do that a cappella. That really impressed me. The quality of the orchestra is also terrific, and that everybody volunteers is, well, it's obviously unique, that nothing else like this exists in the world. Poor Mary, I kind of hesitated because it's not part of the standard repertoire, and it's a song that I grew up with. My mother sang it twice a year, at least, maybe more. It was her signature holiday aria, and I always loved it. I loved it in her voice. I loved the sentiment, the words, and the melody. I've had so many people come up to me, both at the end of one of the concerts and when I've sung it on tour recently, and say, this was our favorite piece on the concert. So I'm thrilled to be singing it. It's a tribute to my mother, and it's a tribute to my childhood and the music I loved as a child. I am one of the holiday crazies. I have holiday spirit from Halloween on. Thanksgiving, Christmas, I love it all. I want decorations everywhere. I want lights everywhere. I mean, my children think it's absolutely hysterical, and they tease me, but I'm passing it on, and I got it from my mother. My family traditions have to do, of course, with music, absolutely with food. My daughters and I bake every year. It's something we never fail to do together. And one of the special things we do every year is actually reproduce the cookies that my great-grandmother made, who came directly from Prague. And so that's a tradition, I think, that's very important for children to understand their national roots through food and through all of these wonderful holiday traditions. And we decorate, and we play music, and we sing carols, and we gather together all of our extended family members. And it's really the only time, particularly that week between Christmas and New Year's, that is sacred for me, that I really keep for my daughters and for myself. Singing with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir in this hall was extraordinary. First of all, I didn't realize how large the hall was until I asked Craig and Mac when we met in New York. I saw a little bit of the video and I said, you know, the hall looks very large. Is it 5,000 people? Is it as big as, say, Albert Hall in London? And they said 21,000 people. And after I fell off my chair, 21,000 people, that's a stadium. That's incredible. And yet, in the hall, because it's designed so well in the round, it feels far more intimate than it is. It feels like a hall. It doesn't have a kind of a stadium feel to it. And the other remarkable thing is that the sound is magnificent. The few times that we rehearsed without amplification, it was very good. What a phenomenal facility, and all of the recording and video possibilities are state-of-the-art, which makes, of course, our job much easier and makes for a much richer experience when all is said and done. It's been a wonderful experience for me.
Oh, I thought, what a great opportunity. I mean, I know the choir, I've heard the choir, I know how great it is, and it is. But you hear that sound all around you, and it is a stunning and beautiful experience. And I was really thrilled. It's a magnificent hall. Wonderful. Wonderful to perform in. And beautiful to look at. Wow, the size. It sounds very impressive when you say it, and of course I'll go home and say there were 21,000 people. But strangely enough, no different than performing in front of 21. As I've been told, and is absolutely true, when it's full, it seems completely intimate. And the sound is very beautiful. A sudden warmth seemed to fill him as her words touched his heart. Ring the bell for me, Father. Ring it every Christmas morn. He was born and he lives now. So think of him, think of me. And ring our bell every Christmas morn. It is always exciting for an actor to be with a huge orchestra, and heaven knows with a huge choir like this, very heightening emotionally. And of course, reading the Gospel according to St. Luke is extremely moving and beautiful text.
And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn.
I think you receive something from every experience, certainly when you travel or go to somewhere like this and meet with enormous kindness. I've never met with such warmth and kindness and generosity. And you take that away with you. I'll take away with me the sound of that wonderful choir and the great expertise and elegant kindness of Craig. And the whole experience of having been here. It is very much another world to me. And I think one always takes something away. Everything feeds everything else in your life. And this will certainly remain with me as a most beautiful experience. Really beautiful.
The choir, and the artists, and the orchestra, and our conductors, they're always front and center. But I don't think people really have a complete picture of is how many people it takes behind the scenes to actually produce this fabulous Christmas concert.
I work with a team of coordinators.
Stage manager and property manager, the production manager,
lighting designer,
team of engineers, the director,
The stage manager.
the producer,
the administrative manager,
the event services manager.
We have one of the best crews, I think, in the United States, because we're producing right now a program for PBS during Christmas time.
Yes. This cat is like the hardest one to do lighting on.
One of the other difficulties in producing a show like this is that I have two main audiences. I have a television audience and I have a live audience, and I cannot let either one of those suffer. We want the people that are in the hall to feel that intimacy of being right there with the choir and the orchestra and the guest artists. We want them to be able to feel like, if you're watching this on television, that you're right there listening to them and you're sitting right next to them without getting in the way of the actual people that are in the hall. So it's really hard to try to serve both audiences, the broadcast and the live.
There aren't any other theaters in the world that have a proscenium 140 feet wide and 72 feet tall. And so everything is a long ways from everything else.
Once the number starts, we'll just slowly work her up there.
So there's this little prayer,
Okay.
and then the horns come in, and the choir will stand on this downbeat.
The first time we have any guest artist walk into the facility, there's always the jaw-dropping wow moment.
Wow, the size.
And that's actually one of our very favorite things, is to be on stage, to welcome them to the conference center, and then to watch as they walk on stage and look at this fabulous hall. Just give them a moment to kind of let it sink in.
It's a magnificent hall. Wonderful. Wonderful to perform in.
There is no other facility like this. It's the largest auditorium in the world.
The nearest venue that even comes close that is a theater of this size is about half.
21,000 people, that's a stadium. That's incredible. And yet, in the hall, because it's designed so well in the round, it feels far more intimate than it is.
When it's full, it seems completely intimate. And the sound is very beautiful.
The size of this building also means that everything that you put into it has to have an equal large size to it, or it looks very diminutive on the stage. So we have to build a set that is about 200 feet wide, and then also have visual elements that go up to 125 feet up in the air, with stars and with the pipes and with the color that we put on the background on the back set.
We distribute, free to the public, almost 100,000 tickets for the 4 concerts that happen at Christmas time here with the Tabernacle Choir. The day that we begin distribution, we usually start about 10 o'clock in the morning, and all of those tickets are usually gone within about 2 hours. And then there's all the other things that go on behind the scenes, the setting up of the dressing rooms and taking care of the guest artists and the parking, the security, all those logistics that have to go on behind the scenes that no one really notices. They come in and enjoy the music.
This concert presents a number of challenges in that we have several different products that we have to think about while we're in the process. First and foremost is we're providing to the audience in the hall on the big projected screens the concert to enhance their experience as they view it live. The second part of the challenge is we have to acquire enough material so that we can, in the editing process, create a video version of the concert that stands alone. We use 11 to 12 cameras and tape for 5 different sessions during the week of the performances. We have cameras that are robotically controlled by operators that are not actually in the hall. These cameras are placed so that they minimize the impact on the audience. We also have handheld cameras that can get into places and get the kind of intimacy that helps us feel the spirit of the music. We also utilize in this concert 2 jibs. A jib is a camera that is mounted on the end of a very long arm that can create the feeling of a 3-dimensional movement through the choir and orchestra and as we shoot the guest artists. We rely on the artistry of those operators not only to just get a shot, but also to frame a shot in a way that is creative and that really enhances the visual experience. It's easy to point a camera and get a shot in focus, but it takes skill and artistry to make that shot interesting. The video control room in the process of this kind of production can be a madhouse because there is so much that's going on. We're directing anywhere between 11 or 12 cameras, and there are many people in different roles within the control room. You have a music reader who is tasked with keeping track of where we are in the music at any point in time. The director obviously is calling the camera shots in. Technical director is